Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday live stream. We got a lot of things to go over, so let's just jump right into it. So first thing, I titled this, The Math Ain't Mathin'. And a lot of the things that we talk about is just to take a look at the market itself and kind of guesstimate in our best educated guess about where markets are going and what's actually happening. But if we really take a look at it, a lot of this data that we have, it just doesn't really add up. And the deeper that you go, the other direction you can actually go into. So the more data that you get, the farther off to the left or to the right or to the bearish or to the bullish that you will actually become. And it just really becomes just a big game of what more data can you put into it to get to your confirmation bias, quite honestly. And this was actually from friend of the show, Guy from Coin Bureau. And he says, this is why on-chain analysis is important. He says, data from CryptoQuant suggests that Bitcoin whales are accumulating. And it is, it's important to note that that may be happening. And we've actually seen this actually months ago or weeks ago. And of course, after not recently, just this week, did we not have a nice little crash? And of course, all these things that we talk about are good to know, but you have to understand there's always going to be these events. There's always going to be something that's going to come up and you're just never going to know. So like with this one here, 404,000 of Bitcoin worth almost 23 billion was sent to wallets that hodl. That's great. And this was actually strengthened by another piece. And I think this might be actually what he was referencing. This is from CryptoQuant, which is the Bitcoin 30-day demand change. And I like this phrase here. Permanent holder addresses and ETFs or permanent holder demand change over 30-day, which I find quite funny that it's a permanent holder, but the demand has changed. So, I mean, if you think about it, maybe these guys have said, okay, after 30 days, I'm going to hold forever. That's never going to happen. And I know people will say, well, Michael Saylor, and yes, there are exceptions to the rule, but I got to tell you, there are people who are going to sell. And you may be one of them or you may not be. I can't tell you what to do. This is not financial advice, but you know my rules. So we'll just go with that. So if we can see here that, yes, Vivek is correct. There is quite a massive amount of accumulation going on by the whales. And that's good and that's great. What does that mean for price action? Well, if we flip it on its head and take a look at what that means for ETFs, this was yesterday. If I'm not mistaken, today is the 7th. This was August 6th. Negative outflows for the ETF. And I'm not saying that this is awful, this is bad. I'm just saying that, hey, people are going to they're going to be a little bit irrational. I believe the fear and greed index is hovering around the 22, 23 level. So that may be extreme fear. It may just be regular fear, but I don't think anybody's really bullish right now. And people are going to sell off, even though you'll have some of the bigger players accumulating in the background. And as far as like yesterday, you had negative 2,760 Bitcoin. What does that mean for the total flows? Not much, quite honestly. I thought we were going to hit 300,000 as far as a total net Bitcoin flows, but we've come down to 289,000. Again, if we take a look at this and just say, well, where are things going? We're on a downward trend. I think we can all agree there. Even though we've got whales who are accumulating, we don't have everybody accumulating, and that's why the price action is negative. Now, we take a look also at the Ethereum ETF flow. We're at the lowest number we've been. So this is the total as far as the total output or net flows. And you can see that on the first day, we were doing pretty good. I mean, we had negative 484 by Grayscale, which is they do what they do. But then after that, it's been pretty much red, 133, 152. There was a couple of days of in the green, as you might say. But now we're sitting at around 364 negative after a multiple amounts of outflows. So if we're taking a look at ETFs, which everybody was so excited about, this is where we're at. So what does this mean? All this stuff that we have and we get positive and we get negative, it just means like this. This is the reality. The reality is that Bitcoin did a little bit of recovery, and that's great. I mean, it was much farther than 60. I want to say 63, 64. And over the last 7 days, we're down 18%. 24 hours, we're down 3%. Now, and of course, you can take a look at this any way you want to, like we talk about. Either this is the worst thing of all time, or this is opportunity. But one thing I don't want to get into is like, okay, it's going to be great and it's going to be awesome, and it's going to start going up. Nobody knows. So I want everybody to be aware of this. And the reason why I bring this out, it's called the Stockdale paradox. And the Stockdale paradox was Admiral Stockdale was shot down in the Vietnam War. And what he saw was that when there was an exuberance of people giving positive information, it would crush the spirit of people. And he said, you have to have reality. When he would tell POWs and POWs, prisoner of wars, and say, look, we're not going to get out of here for a long time. And people are going to tell you you're going to get out of here like any day now. It's not going to happen. You're just going to have to suck it up, and it's going to be tough, but you're going to make it. And that's just how it is. And that's exactly what it is with investing and getting into crypto and digital assets. So I just bring this to everybody's attention, not to be a jerk, but just to kind of say like, hey, this is the reality of what we're in. Me personally, I look at this and go, this is pretty good for me, because I never feel like I actually really accumulated enough. And that's where we're at. And just to sum this all up, there's a great quote. It says, someone with half your IQ is making 10x as you because they aren't smart enough to doubt themselves. And that's really what it comes down to. Some days you just got to say, okay, I'm never going to get all the information. I don't think I have all the answers, but I see where the trend is going. And then if you just to really finally bring this point home, you can do anything you want to, and you can take a look at, all the type of data that you have out there. But time in the market, I think, is more important than truly timing the market every couple of months or so and saying, let me do this, let me do that. Sometimes it's just easier just to say, the hell with it. I'm going to throw sand in the ocean and I don't really care. So this is on Ben's website. This is actually free. And I encourage everybody to sign up for, the free parts, or if you want to get more in depth, there's a link in the description. You can sign up. But I love doing this DCA simulation because it just kind of shows you, it reaffirms, like, if you just stick around and just throw sand in the ocean, sometimes you get a lot more sand back. So like for this one, you put $100 in, you do a weekly on a Monday. This is just random stuff, right? Since 2022, which I got to tell you was not a great time that people would say to invest, because in November of 2022, we hit our all-time low for the cycle, around 17,000 Bitcoin. But that's the time you have to get in there. You have to, because that's where all the money's made. And if you just did this $100 a week, doing a side hustle, something like that, you'd invested $9,000 for 90 weeks. You'd have accumulated 0.3 Bitcoin, and you'd have 17,000. Now take that and put it into a savings account. Where do you get? You get devalued currency. That's what you get. And then if you do this thing called dynamic DCA, you'd be even much higher. Actually, the percentage would be 162%. And if you don't know what dynamic DCA is, there is a link in the description. You can check that out. And I go over all that stuff right there. So just want to bring this to everybody's attention. Right now, I know the price action isn't the greatest. I still feel like we're going to be on a rockier road. I still feel like we're going to keep going down, especially if you take a look at any time that the Fed cuts rates. It's not like the Fed cuts rates, everything goes over the rainbow and everything's awesome. It's going to suck for a bit until we turn those money printers on. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comments section. Just wanted to bring everybody down to reality. I know, boo-hoo. But there are some good things. And I just want to bring this up because, people talk a lot about politics. I don't like to do it, and I don't want to. But when there's equilibrium on both sides, I like to bring it to everybody's attention, which is this. This is from Eleanor Terrett. I hope I say her name right. Terrett. From Fox News, and she says, hey, there's more details on the Crypto for Harris coalition. And I have to applaud these people because they're trying to bring the information of crypto and digital assets, mostly Bitcoin, to the attention of the current administration, which I don't know if you want to call it the Biden administration or the Kamala Harris administration. I don't know. I don't really care. All I know is that these people, experts, Sheila Warren, Crypto Council, Amanda Wick, Justice Department, Chainalysis, Richie Torres, who I believe is a representative. Yeah, Richie Torres from New York, Willie Nickel. Mark Cuban is on that panel, and also Anthony Scaramucci. So they are bringing this information to Kamala Harris. And I don't know who's going to win the presidential election, but I would like whoever gets in there or stays in there, I don't know. At least they have the most information they possibly can. So maybe they can, once and for all, finally fire Gary Gensler and actually have a more pro-crypto stance and get rid of this Operation Choke Point 2.0 so we can move forward. So to me, I think this is a win. Hats off to everybody. Tide rushes in, all the boats rise, all that great stuff. So that's what we have for that piece. And also, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Grayscale, which we talk a lot of trash about on this channel, but we really shouldn't. They're just trying to do the best. Grayscale Investments, they launched 2 new product offerings, which I found quite interesting. BitTensor or Tau Trust and the Sweet Trust. And I was like, ooh, well, that's good. That means that more individuals who may not have access to that or don't really want to deal with the incompatibilities of self-custody get into it. Well, what does that mean for the price? Not much. BitTensor itself is down 3% and 20% for the week. But if we take a look at SWE, which is somewhere, it's one of the few that's actually up for 24 hours, 5.3%. So that's pretty good. I have to commend that. That's good. That's great for Grayscale. But as great as that news is, Dog with Hat is still up almost 13%. So take that as it is. Again, sometimes you can't make this stuff up. And then lastly, before we get out of here, TON. I know a lot of people don't invest in a ton because I know that the majority of my audience is American, roughly 45, 47%. And the rest go from Canada, Australia, parts of Europe, India, and so on and so forth. But TON is, I still say, a sleeper. It's in the top 10. And I find it fascinating what's going on. TON's head of gaming on Hamster combats next move in the future of Telegram gaming. This is why it's interesting. So the TON Foundation lead, his name's Anal Cardan, said as last December, only 1% of Telegram's monthly active users were playing games in the app. He said, I said it should have been, around 12%. WeChat is 30%. You don't know WeChat it has over 1 billion active users per month. It's in China only. And it is the super app out there. He says all these games, their monetization model is not about in-app purchases. It's all about traffic. They're all monetizing traffic, eyeballs. That's really what it comes down to. They said, but after TG, they got to do something different. I bring this to your attention because I am putting together this presentation about mini apps on Telegram. Mini apps, essentially what Telegram is it's a messaging app. And WeChat was the exact same thing in the beginning. But then it started to put in apps, just like WeChat did, and became a super app. Now that Telegram has TON, it has the ability to make payments, transfer funds across the entire world. And it's very simple to use. This is exactly what Elon Musk is trying to do right now on X or Twitter. But Telegram already beat him to it. And that's why I think that they have 950 million users, active monthly users per month. I just don't see how this is not working out. And one of their games called Catizen, it's quite honestly, not my cup of tea. However, it made $10 million in revenue. How the hell did it do that? Well, this is why I think people are sleeping on it, because I just let them know. As of June, like a couple months ago, businesses on Telegram can sell digital goods and services using bots and mini apps. This just came out. And that's why people I think that's why people don't get it. So they made, here, let me blow this up. From their first week to their 10th week, they made $10 million. How'd they do it? In-game app purchases. And I played this game. It's like the transaction fees are less than a penny. They're super fast. And the things that you're buying in there are like a couple of cents. So they got 10 million users. If every one of those users spends $1, which guess what? They're not all going to do that. Someone will spend 5, someone will spend 0. They made 10 million bucks on doing stuff like that. And they're going to start to integrate advertisements, which they actually have already done. So I'm putting this together of the top 14 mini apps. I'm not done, but I linked this presentation in the description. I'd like you to go through that. I'd like you to take a look at it. I'd like you to tell me what you want to see in it before I actually do the video. So links in the description. You can check that out. Lastly, before we get into the Q&A, I want to give a shout out to my man, Aaron Bennett, doing a great job over on his YouTube channel as he talks about a second distribution from one of the worst companies in crypto, Celsius. And he gives you a timeline and what's going on with Ionic Digital and the mining operation that they're doing. So Give that a watch. Aaron's doing great work. So thanks, Aaron, for doing all that you do. I linked that in the description. You can check that out. If you're a Celsius participant, unfortunately, like myself, then you'll be waiting for that, that distribution. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Everything we talk about is time sensitive. Now, if you'd like to stick around, I see there's a bunch of questions. So I'll answer all those questions and we'll go from there. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate you. And now let's get a little Q&A. Yes, that's right. I got a Voyager check too. I forgot to mention that. Shoot. So everybody, check your mailbox. You just have a distribution. Good news. They actually got some of the money back from 3 Arrows Capital, those bunch of crooks. And that means it went back to you. Now, it's not going to be 100%. I wish it was, but it's something. And right now, in these days, we'll take it. If you think about it, this is like the best opportunity. God help us if we would have got at the peak of the bull market. Now we get it when everything's going down. Maybe we can maybe buy into some digital assets that you wanted to get into for a long time. Maybe figure out about self-custody instead of doing something stupid like I did, like put on Voyager and Celsius, and go from there. Anyhow, check or check K. Very funny. Frankie, XRP lawsuit settled 125 million. Thoughts? I was just watching the video from my man Jungle Inc. If you don't know Jungle Inc., let's find it, shall we? Here. Let's take a look. There he is. Jungle Inc. wrote a great article on this whole thing. He's also got a YouTube channel. Entertaining guy. So the SE ruling, 125 million fine, permanent injunction granted, civil penalty. Watch that. Go from there. Let me do this. I think this is great news. However, there's also, he wrote another piece on XRP. About as they move between, it's a new piece of it. Yeah, this one, headed for separation. I'll let you check out Jungle and what he's got going on. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this in here. Jungle Inc. Follow him on X. Get all the information there. I can't cover it all. He does a great job. All righty. So we'll see. Let's see. XRP is spiking the news. Yeah. Seems to be good. We'll see how it all works out. If anybody needs a win, it'd be the XRP army. Boy, you guys went through a lot. That's for sure. This XRP pump, is it pumping? I don't think, is it really pumping right now? Or are you just pulling my leg? Not that I have a lot, I have a little bit. Oh my God, I was way off. 18%. Well, who's wrong now? So that's great. Unfortunately, it's still down 22% for the 7-day. So that just kind of brings them, let me see this. Look at that. It's nice. Hey, it's something, right? Get you back right back to base. We'll take it. Thoughts on Andrew Tate's coin? No, I don't have a thought on Andrew Tate's coin. I don't know what the utility is or what it's even about. Let's see. XRP LOL. Right, I thought it was a stable coin. Look at that. Just kidding, everybody. Stellar is moving. Well, they're pretty much hand in hand, aren't they? Well, they used to be. Let's see. Yeah, there's something going on with Engine Coin. There's also something going on with Render and Coinbase. I have to figure that out myself. Thoughts on Caspa? I do really well. I own some. There's a reason why some of those massive Bitcoin mining operations turn their attention to Caspa as well as Bitcoin. So just follow that. Yeah. So it's over. The SEC versus Ripple case has been quite a journey. Thanks for sharing with me. 125 million penalty and a generic injunction order. This is a big win from Ripple. Damn, it's a big win for Ripple, and they got a penalty. Let me see something. Yeah, this is what we got. In a major development for the crypto world, Ripple Labs has been handed a substantial penalty and a permanent injunction following the court decision on the high-profile LTC versus Ripple. Really marks a pivotal moment. Court found Ripple in violation of Section 5 of the Securities Act. Well, there you go. Due to its unregistered sales of XRP, while the SEC argued that Ripple actions showed a reckless disregard for the law, the court decision highlighted a more nuanced view. It was determined that Ripple's intent was inconclusive as the SEC failed to provide new evidence proving reckless conduct. However, court acknowledged Ripple's continued sale of XRP through its ODL transactions despite early ruling, indicated likelihood of future violations. That's not good. This prompted the issuance of a permanent injunction to prevent Ripple from further breaching securities laws. Is this really a win? Am I reading this wrong? Permanent injunction is permitted. Nobody highlights the court's concern that Ripple might continue to push the boundaries of legal compliance, necessitating ongoing oversight to prevent future violations. From a financial perspective, the penalty imposed is significant but manageable for a company of its size. However, it serves as a critical reminder of the potential. Conclusion. Dude, I don't see how this is like a big win, quite honestly. But maybe there's more nuance than what I see. So they're going to keep oversight of them for future violations, and they got lambasted for $125 million. That's a great win. I don't know. Not for me. If I had $125 million injunction, I mean, of course, they're like, it's a big company. They can handle it. Damn, it seems like they're just bleeding all the time. Sweet Mary and Joseph. Caspa is now on Kraken roadmap for listings. Well, better late than never. That's great. Hey, Benny. Another hero of the Web3 space. Benny does great stuff by rooting out all the scammers and nonsense that he finds in X, and he protects you and me. So hats off to Benny for being here. And Fork You Eddie has a great touche. The press says it's someone, and he's right. He's right. Sell the news. Yeah, you're right. Who am I to say? Good job, everybody. Let's see. I don't know. Doesn't sound like a win. Mathin says, do you have problems with loading Daedalus? Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I tried to load it yesterday. I had a big, long problem. And people will call me a boomer, which is not inaccurate. But Daedalus is the wallet for Cardano. We are a DNews is one of the stake pools for Cardano. We have two. And it's one that I use because I've used it forever. And it's safe and I like it. Unfortunately, you have to load up pretty much everything. And it takes forever to get going. There's much better options now. I need to move things over. But I don't really want to because I don't have the time. But yeah, Daedalus takes quite a bit. For people who are in the Cardano community, if you could just put out what's your favorite wallet, that would be great. Go from there. What? Echo Lee says, I got 99% back from Celsius, 100% back from BlockFi and Gemini Earn. Hopefully it wasn't, maybe it was not a lot. I did not get that. BlockFi 100%. I have heard that is actually good. Oh. Binance US is shutting down services for a lot of states these upcoming months. Not surprised. They should really go away. Not that they should. I shouldn't have said it like that. No, I mean, they shouldn't really go away, but the problem is that it's an inevitability, especially with the US government that is cracking down on them constantly. Then, of course, the different discrepancies they had with Binance US and Binance Global, I think it's just best to dissolve that and kind of move on. But, you know, who am I to say? Maybe they'll come back like Toys R Us. That's funny. The price says it's a win. I have to say, I had to put that up twice. That was good. Coron says, I think DCA on a downtrend is not a very brilliant idea. When would you like to buy? Let me guess. At the very bottom. Crone, if you know exactly when to buy, you should do a YouTube show. Everybody would love you until the one time when you screw up, and then they'll have your head on a platter. Hey, Rob, easiest way to buy SWI and CAS? Let's find out. CAS, but I just use Tangem. I use my Tangem wallet and swap within it. Relatively easy. Let's see. SWI. Well, anyhow, go to markets, and there's all your, oh, it's on Kraken. Look at that. There's 17 locations or 17 centralized or decentralized exchanges that you can get this from. And they're all labeled right here, CEX, C-E-X. You can use Binance. No, excuse me. I don't know what. I've never even heard of CETUS, but okay. Is there any more DEXs? Huh. SWI swap. You can use that. And just go to this website and you can actually get the correct trading pairs and the correct website instead of going to the wrong one and getting scammed out. So yeah. I didn't know your green screen fans are working. Yeah, Fiverr fixed it. So I'm pretty happy about that. I heard they're emerging from bankruptcy. So everybody's childhood is now saved again. Yeah, isn't that crazy? How is Ton? It's tons of fun. It's okay. You know, speaking of which, I know like when I talk about Ton, especially if you don't own it, you're like, why are you talking about a coin I don't own? I'm like, I own it, so I'm going to talk about it. But I was just taking a look at it. People say, you know, it's already too high in the market cap. I think it's actually in a good place. The market cap is $13.5 billion. And I was looking at Solana. Solana's at 67 billion. And I own both. I think Solana will go up. So if you're at 13 billion, why couldn't you hit Solana's market cap? This is a low point, right? So what does that mean? You're looking at over a 4x just to get from there to there. And Solana, to do a 4x, what do you have to do? Well, you have to essentially be higher than Ethereum, where it's at right now, $280 billion. That's a 4x from Solana to Ethereum's market cap. Just letting you know that's what it is. There are some things that concern me about Toncoin, though. And that is, well, first of all, with Solana, we know that there is an inflation rate. Some people will say it's 1.5%. Some people will say it's over 5%, depending on what kind of data that you took a look at. But one thing about it is, though, is that as far as the circulating supply and the total supply, it's pretty 66 million to 581 million, right? So what is that? It's roughly 85, 90% there. But if you take a look at Toncoin, and I don't know this is why it's so important to take a look at tokenomics. With Toncoin, I need to take a look at this. The circulating supply is 2.5 billion. But the total supply is 5.1. The question that I have for this, and I think these become unlocked over the next 4 years, so I'm not super concerned about it, but there will be unlocks as time goes on. And if you take a look at the max supply, it has inflation. Now, the inflation is 0.6%, so theoretically, you know, over like couple hundred years, it's going to go up. But 0.4% or 0.6% is much lower than, say, well, the US government, but not as good as Bitcoin. So that's why I still hold 70% of my net worth of crypto in Bitcoin and don't go too crazy. So that's my little rant. Touche. All right. Yeah, DCA is away. There we go. Thank you, Pig. Eternal is a solid option for Cardano. Also has great hardware support. I did not know that. Driz says lump sum over DCA easily. Could work out pretty well. It just depends, right? If you're going to, like when you tell your friends, you should lump sum. If they would have lump summed in, I don't know, November 2021, where would they be right now? He'd be down. Exactly. So for me, we know if we're going to do a lump sum type of thing, not a bad idea, right? But we want to do it around when it's like the bears, right? The best time would have been, obviously, in 2022. But most people don't do that. Would now be a great time to lump sum? Maybe. I don't know. I got to tell you, if you lump sum right now, it could be okay. But how sure are you that we don't get economic data which comes out which shows a recession? And how sure are you right now that the price won't go down because we have, I don't know, Israel bombing Lebanon? Or we have something with China and Russia going against us or making moves as far as like for World War III. Do you think the price might go down then? And that's the thing about lump summing. It sounds great until you're like, shoot, I didn't see that. Did anybody see the Japan, the Bank of Japan and the trade carry of trillions of dollars? I didn't see it either. I honestly don't really care because, I care, but that's why dollar cost average. Yeah, that's my sentiment as well. This market is reminding me of August 2016. That's somebody who's been around. Yeah, I don't know. How is DCing in a downturn a bad idea? Everybody's got their reasons. For them, it might be a bad time. So yeah, that's the beauty of investing. It's a personal thing. Yeah, good luck, Ed. Good luck. Can you make a meme that follows your rules? Scam coin's probably already been done. Profit coin is pretty much all meme coins. Leverage coin? I don't know. Oh, look at that. We have a Toys R Us in my hometown. It's a small section in the corner of W.H. Smith and has about 75 toys, including Jinx puzzles. It's pathetic. Amazon really destroyed that whole market, didn't it? Exactly. Yeah, don't sleep on ton. Native tokens. Yeah, and we've been talking to their top projects. It looks pretty good, but who knows? Rob, do you have a ton? I am making the shift right now. And just so everybody knows, like during that dip, I bought two things. I bought Bitcoin, I bought ton. That was it. I got enough of everything else. Who can afford Toys R Us? Just the big kids. Bonk Maxi. Me and Steven. We think it's the superior asset. Not fake. Sad. Yeah. Baba says, who gives a flying F about any of these coins? It's all speculative utility and ultimately speculative gambling. For the most part. That's not untrue. Although I got to tell you, like I've been dabbling in the ton ecosystem. And like when I put this video out, you're going to see why. Like, think of it this way. When you watch this video, did you see an ad? I don't know if you do or not because it's live, right? But later on, when this isn't live and it's pre-recorded, you're going to click, someone's going to click on this. They're going to watch this part and like, yeah, I saw this ad and it sucked. And it was this ad or this ad, this ad. Advertisers go to where the eyeballs are, right? So if you just have a bunch of eyeballs, you can charge ads, advertising rates, right? It's the same thing when you download apps for Apple. So if you have close to 1 billion monthly users like Telegram does, and they're building these mini apps to bring even more people in to play the games to keep them on there, why wouldn't it be a good asset? Then, of course, what do they get paid in? Did you know that to pay for the ads, you can use Toncoin? And the advertisers or the developers get paid in ton. And then the different games that you actually play, they do an airdrop. So people are like, where does the revenue come from? Well, tons of stuff for the ads. They do these things called digital, or we call them DGAs, digital game assets. They can pay for those with the tokens or then swap them with their own. To me, I see where it's going, but it has to get bigger. It's pretty big so far, but we'll see. Yes. Yeah, it's like the game. I lived in Vegas for 2 years. It's great. I mean, it's not good if you do it every day. That's called degeneracy, which is what a lot of meme coiners did. They just went straight up degenerate and just didn't realize that this is for fun and these don't do anything, which is still astounding that Shiba Inu is still up in the top 20. True, Mr. Jackson. This is true. Let's see. Yeah, Matic is not great. Although, if you look at the risk values, Matic is one of the lowest as far as the risk levels. So if you're ever going to get into Matic, this might be a good time. Yes, lump sum is tempting though. And if you have a long time horizon, can't beat it. Lump sum and be proud. Yeah, exactly. What? YouTube didn't give you notification that this was a live stream? Well, that's just crazy. Who would have thunk that? That's a good one. Rug pull coin, I could do that one. Will Snake rip if Cardano moons? I hope so. I own some. Let's see. Look at NQ1S coin dumping. Yeah, they're all dumping. Yeah, and Meme's got a good point. You know, a lot of these tokens are just going to go to zero. And that's it. They go to zero, and it's a great write-off for taxes. That's the way to do it. Bob Payne asked a good question. Where is the liquidity going to come from to move things up? Everyone is out of cash, and credit card debt is skyrocketing. Please advise. Not everybody. That's just it. And you are right. I want to say that as of last month, we were over at, I think it was in the we passed 1 trillion in credit card debt in the United States. Imagine that. Think about that for a second. You can't afford the rate of inflation as it's going up. Your wages are not keeping up with inflation. You're trying to do 2 or 3 jobs and side hustles just to make ends meet. So what do? Well, you don't get any stimulus checks. So what do? You put it on your credit card and hopefully it all works out. The problem is here, well, that's the big problem. But as far as the liquidity, where is it coming from? Trust me, that money finds a place to go into, but it's not in us. It's not in retail. And that's why when you see these stories about who is buying and who is selling, especially yesterday, we just did an article and just talked about how retail sold off massively on Monday. But guess who bought massively? Institutions. And it wasn't just in crypto, it was mostly in TradFi. That money finds a home. Unfortunately, it flows that way because we don't have any funds. So where's the money going to come from? Money goes someplace, it's going to come back down. Unfortunately, it goes to the plebs. So that's it. Lastly, I will say, though, is that when the rates get cut, which, I mean, they might have an emergency meeting this month. I don't think so. Maybe September. If it's in September, it's going to be pretty bad. Once that happens, they cut the rates. It's going to be even worse for a bit, and then they're going to really turn on the money printers. But if you take a look at the M2 money supply, we've already been printing. It's just we're going to accelerate that. And then we'll actually have to pay off that massive debt in 2026, 2027, and that's when we're going to have the big shakedown. And that's when we get to not just a recession, but maybe a depression. But I'm just a broken record, if you want to hear that. Robert's your glass prescription. These are just those blue blockers. Because I'm on the screen so much, I've been doing a lot of things with meetings and stuff, that my eyes get tired. I'm old, I get tired. That's what happens. Rob, what's one thing you wish you knew when you're 18? That it's not a big deal. Most of the things that we deal with are not a big deal. There is a link in the description. It's the Daily Stoic, Ryan Holiday. And one of the things they always talk about is there's a Latin phrase. It's memento mori, which means everyone dies. So a lot of things that we think are the biggest, massive deal are not a big deal. Just remember, you can't take it with you, and just try to do your best. But in the end, there's only so many few things that actually really matter. And that is mostly family and the people around you. That's what I wish anyone was 18. Oh, nice. Got a Tijuana, Mexico. Listen to Rob. I got a Tijuana once. It was for a volleyball tournament. I played for the state of Chihuahua in Mexico. Crazy, right? That's a good story. If we ever do a meetup, I'll tell you all about it. Yeah. I'm like, Rob, way too many coins. I think I have like 100. Everybody go buy XRP. Let's bump it. That is not XRP advice. But if you want to, go ahead. The case is over. Everybody's happy, right? Matthias says, Rob, do you entrust your coins on MetaMask? I don't trust them, but I don't have an alternative because some of these really poorly bought S coins that I had for a while. They won't go on the cold storage devices. They won't go on a ledger. They won't go on a Tangent because they don't support them. So what do? You got to stick them on a hot wallet, which would be MetaMask. So for those, I don't really care so much about them because it's a very low dollar amount of what they're worth, and they're dropping like a stone every day. So I'm just holding on to them, see if they make it through. And if it gets hacked, it gets hacked. So it's like less than $100. I don't really care. PSA, exit liquidity, exactly. And as a reminder, everybody, I know it's bad right now. I mean, the market's not the greatest, but just remember that once this heats up and you think to yourself, oh, it did a 2x, that means I can do a 10x. Oh, it did a 10x, now I can do a 100x. I will dump on you. I will dump on every single one of you that's in this chat right now. I don't care if it's Dez. I don't care if it's Fox, First Coast Crypto, Golfer, Frosty. I'll dump on all of you. So you better make sure that you take some profits. Just a reminder. Let's see. Yeah, Oleg says, judge orders Ripple to pay $125 million civil penalties, officially on the SEC lawsuit. Inclusion XRP is not a security. That's good. Yeah, Munger did pass away. He was 100. I hope I lived that long. Yeah. Let me look for that article. Do you think Sol's market cap could catch ETH this cycle? I mean, at its current valuation, $288 billion. Sure, why not? Especially if things start to move in, but it's anybody's guess. Now, do I think the flippening could happen where Ethereum just stays stagnant? I think there's too many institutions that are really into it. If you listen to anybody talk, like Balkunas and Cypher, they're always saying that institutions really talk about two big players, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum. Everybody else is kind of like second or third tier. So I think it'll do quite well. I'm not a big fan of Ethereum. I own it, but I don't really like it. And the layer 2 solutions, I guess, you know. Hey, Shady. Yeah, crypto, good job. I have a ton of Sol as bought last year at $20. That's really good. It's really great price. I think the lowest price is at $9. That crazy guy was right in his near. There's no shortage of crazy guys to tell you that we're going into a recession or a depression or everything's going to fall apart. Joby says, Rob, where does Bridge just bought the entire remaining supply of EOS and then he got scammed? I believe the first part. The second part, Bridge's a pretty smart guy. I don't think you'd get scammed out of his precious, precious EOS, which, you know, you got $80, you might be able to buy it all. I dump on Rob all the time. There you go. That's the spirit. That's what I like to see. People doing what they're supposed to do, taking profits and living a sweet life. Yeah. Karen, Stramed, really appreciate you. Always came to you for the comments in the bear market. Funny that we're doing the same thing 2 years. It is pretty funny. But you know what's funny? If we're going to do it, we're going to do the next cycle. And it's going to keep repeating. So get comfy. Web3 runners, do you own ADA? Yeah, absolutely. ADA and Snake, whatever you call it. World Mobile Token. I think I own more World Mobile Token than I do ADA. I really like that project. I like Minutes Network. Probably some other ones I own in there, but I'm not for sure. Got to look at the portfolio. But yeah, again, the question is going to be, which one's going to win the race? Is it the tortoise or the hare? ADA is kind of like the tortoise, and Solana is kind of like the hare. We'll see which one makes it out. Ton, I think, is the best of both worlds. Yes, Shay, thank you. You know, he owns ADA. He has a validator. Exactly. We have a stake pool. Yeah, still run the stake pool. I mean, I don't run it. My team does. Smart guys. They're better than me. But if you want to find out like how that works and if you want to stake it, and I got to tell you, one thing that Cardano did perfectly, I want to say perfect, but it's pretty close, was the ability to stake and how they use the staking option. You leave the Cardano in your wallet. Never leaves your wallet. And you're able to delegate to a particular stake pool, hopefully DNews, and you get yield every 5 days. It's every 5 days as an epoch. People will say epoch. Well, Charles calls it epoch, so I'll just go with that. And yeah, they knocked it out of the park. Did a really good job. Exactly. Still plan on choking after the bull. Yeah, we might. I don't know if they're bots or not. I was born in Puerto Rico, now in New York. That's a natural progression, right? My relatives told me taxes are more there now than USA. Is it true? Not for like real estate. It's got to be the lowest. I mean, now it's, you know, Puerto Rico isn't mainland USA. Obviously, it's a commonwealth, but I mean, the real estate tax is super ridiculously low. Like I pay way more in taxes than I do in Puerto Rico. And then personal tax is personal tax. The only thing that I save on is capital gains tax, because we don't, like, when you move there and you fill out the paperwork, you're exempt from capital gains tax. But as far as like corporate tax, pretty low. As far as personal, it's the same. As far as, like I said, real estate, yeah. But everything else is super expensive. I mean, if you're in Puerto Rico and you've never left Puerto Rico, you have no idea how expensive that place is. Gas is super high. Food is super high. Labor, depending, and everything is just super high there. It's just the truth. Once you, like, if you come to like Texas, like, what? That's how much a house is? That's what the taxes are? That's how much a cup of yogurt costs? That's crazy. That's how much gas is? Yeah. Echo says, how many are on your team? I have 4 people. I have 2 people for the stake pool, and I have 2 researchers, and, well, I have 1 researcher and 1 assistant. Yes, Chris, this is it. Oh, I didn't know this. Jason says, thoughts on similar. Oh, I did read this. Similar signs of putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet, following the MicroStrategy playbook. If you're a corporation and you're stagnant, not really doing too much, or you want to grow, why wouldn't you follow the MicroStrategy playbook? Let me show you something. Let's see. Should I sell Bitcoin? This was the video we did a couple months ago. And what I talked about is, like, there's, as I call the diamond hand score. You either have the most paperish of hands, or you're like me, kind of straddling, or you're like Michael Saylor's, like, I'll buy it forever, right? But when you say about you never sell your Bitcoin, it makes sense for MicroStrategy, right? This is the MicroStrategy stock and their first purchase of Bitcoin. They purchased on August 7th, 2020, somewhere around there. I don't know if it's the 6th or the 9th, or somewhere around August of 2020. And then when they announced it, look at their stock price. And right now it's doing extremely well in 2024. But if you take a look at the stock price previously, the only time it spiked like that was during the .com bubble. And it did great, but then over time, it didn't really do much. There was, blips and pieces. It was very stable, which is good. But for massive gains, they put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. I think it's a playbook that every corporation should take a look at. Why wouldn't they? It doesn't make any sense why they wouldn't do it. Nobody wants to be the first, but I guarantee no one's going to want to be the last. Let's see. So that's it. Yeah, it's super low. Meme knows. Daniel, who wins the Super Bowl? Who wins the presidency? That's the question. I don't care who wins, quite honestly. I just want it to be over with so we can move forward. That way the markets can say, okay, now we know who's going to be in there. If it's this person, then we know we're going to get this. If it's this person, we know we're going to get this. We don't like ambiguity. Now let's just move forward. Yeah. Ed says, capital gains tax exemption PR is 5 years only. It's not 5 years. It's actually, and Meme can help me on this one. I want to say it's over like 15 years. But then there's always talk about it being revoked. Like every single year, they're like, oh, we're going to revoke that. And it never happens. But yeah, I think it's a very long time. And then for real estate tax, I want to say it's a decade, or maybe it's 7. I always forget these two. And, but not, excuse me, there's no exemption in real estate tax. What am I saying? But yeah, for that, it's great. Unfortunately, the prices are insane, just like in Hawaii. It's an island. That's like the good and the bad. Joby says, big Trump announcement coming soon. I heard there's going to be a interview. I think it's Elon Musk is interviewing Donald Trump or something next week. Trump will announce that his hands got bigger. That would be good. Yeah, probably dropping more NFTs. Yeah, Donald Trump Jr., I think, was the one that made a statement on X that he's really big into decentralized exchange and cryptocurrency. And I'm like, oh, you know what that means? Here comes an NFT. Yeah. If the price is right, I'm selling everything. Right. I don't know if I'll sell I'm not going to sell everything. See, this is where it comes down to the nuances of investments, right? Some people like Ashley says, hey, I'm going to sell everything. Just get out. I'm good, right? And I just live off whatever. I maybe buy assets, or maybe I don't do anything. For me, I'll never be out of this game. I'll never be out of crypto or digital assets. I'll always have some funds in. Even the video I put out is where I sell 80%. And it's just like real estate. It's just like precious metals. It's just like equities. You never really get out once you get into assets, because you realize you're like, well, what am I going to do with this money? It just sits here. It's like, it's just burning away. Like that scene in Batman, you know, when the Joker just like lights everything on fire. Which I got to tell you, the Joker did a much better job at inflation than the Fed Reserve did. Anyhow, but when you have that much money, or you have money, you're like, what do I have to do something with it. It has to grow. I have to make it work for me. So you put it into assets because they appreciate. So it just makes sense as time goes on. Wow. So Meme was one of the first when they got there for that. I think it was Act 21, 22, somewhere around there. And now it's Act 60. And when they got there, what was it, Meme? 15 years ago? Yeah. You guys got 35 years roughly, or 25 years. Crystal Ball. That's a nice name. There's a Crystal Ball who's on a political channel. Breaking Points. It's a good show. What's your favorite projects on these levels? Near seems like a deal to me. This is the thing with investing. Sometimes you ought to take a look at, like, I got to tell you right now, James and everybody else watching, I think a lot of these projects, these crypto projects, are undervalued. I know Bitcoin is, especially with all the ETF talk and the institutions coming in, and people putting on their balance sheet. And then don't forget, central banks are now going to be able to put Bitcoin and digital assets on their balance sheet starting January 1st, 2025. Can you imagine if any central bank buys up Bitcoin, like they do with precious metals like gold, puts it on their balance sheet? What do you think that'll do to the price? So risk versus reward, Bitcoin's my favorite. But a lot of these things, like, I don't know about this stuff down here. This stuff, that's for you degenerate gamblers. Have fun. I'm not down there. I'm looking at like top 20, top 25. I still think Polygon's heavily undervalued. Caspa and Near actually, I mean, they have sharding. It's active right now. Chainlink, one of the few oracles where it can pull off-chain data or real-world data onto on-chain. Polkadot, I'm not a big fan. Avalanche, if you're big into Web3 gaming, it's solid. Tron, I think, is losing its grip, especially because, like, if you're in the Southeast Asian countries, you need Tron to transact in Tether. and it's on the Tron rails and it's super cheap, although it's gotten more expensive. Cardano, we'll see. And my favorites are, Toncoin. I own Doge. I own SMXRP, not much. Solana, BNB, and I don't buy any more Ethereum. I got plenty, and I just not a big fan of it anyhow. So at these levels, it starts with Bitcoin and goes down from there. But my big gamble is Ton. Ever been to Panama? No. My friend Jerry V. Hall did. He went through for the AI convention. It is a great place. Exactly. My goals are not your goals. Funny, Roy. Heating bills are cheap in PR. They are, but you know what the electricity costs are? Massive. That's why if you have the ability, get solar panels. Heating bills and hot water are cheap in South Arizona. Yeah, exactly. If you're in like Chandler or Ahwatukee, Phoenix, believe everything's cheap. Oh, Ben's chair is here. Yeah. Did you have the pool refinish? It's a green screen. Let's see. Sorry, this question's been asked already. Do you whether the Arthur Hayes talks about Aptos as any substance? If this is the one that was this the one that was just done with Nick over at Coin Bureau? If it is, I'll take a look. I haven't listened to it yet, but if it's, I think he said some information about Aptos before, because I believe the developers of Aptos were the ones that were from Facebook as they broke off because they were trying to make Libra. That collapsed. So they did Aptos and Sui. And I believe he talks about how Aptos he's going to dump it or something like that. But I got to refresh on what was actually said. I'm not for sure. Yeah, green screen. Yeah, that's true. Yes, good question. Adam is getting really cheap. I know CryptoCito is liking that as he buys more. Just need one last alt season. Let's hope so. Yeah, and 1804 says, once the USA starts, it's game over. Yeah, and if we get regulation clarity, which is for some reason what the SEC refuses to do, but they can still drag in these projects into the courtroom and lambaste them and roll them through the ringers. Because you know what's funny about the SEC or any of the three-letter agencies? Even when they lose, they win. Because every single case that they bring against a private company, that private company has to shell out a boatload of money to fight the SEC if they want to do it, or they have to bend the knee. So how much money has the SEC extrapolated from Ripple as they've taken them to court since 2018? I'm surprised they're still in existence, quite honestly. So remember, it's just manpower for them. If they lose, hey, we're just doing our job. And of course, what happens there? You get a bing for 125 million, like what Ripple just had today. So yeah, I try to avoid sure. I think we all should. It's a pretty good idea. Has ETH died? No, it's just, I got to tell you that ETF has been quite lackluster. What are you going to do? Solar panels and Starlink? Yeah. Thoughts on VeChain? I still own some, not very much, but it's made quite a comeback. And maybe it's one of those projects that actually will do something. I remember VeChain had a partnership with Walmart. I don't know if you guys remember this. And it was the ability to track inventory and medications. And what was great about it is it could track it in some way, especially like if something happened, like for like a transport of like, say some type of like produce, and the temperature went up a little bit too much. There was an oracle that was attached. It could relay the data. Data could come back on the blockchain, which is immutable, and they could say that's bad. Or if they had something like, let's say there was a nationwide recall for some kind of medication, right? Let's say it is Propulsid. Propulsid was a medication that they use for gastric reflux. And it unfortunately caused a lot of myocardial infarctions or heart attacks. So because of that, it was taken off. It didn't get that information to everybody. And before you knew it, there was people still taking Propulsid and they have after effects. So you could have this put on the blockchain. It could go out to all the different places. And of course, it could be a little bit quicker. That was just one of the use cases for VeChain. I thought it was interesting. I don't know if they still use it, though. Right. I was done with Jessica and Nick. All right. Yep, Aptos was Facebook at one time. The Ching hard fork. Why is your green screen on an indoor pool when we live in such a beautiful country? Well, we live in Puerto Rico, but we vacation in El Paso, Texas. So we are in El Paso right now. And what do you want me to? I'm not going to use this in desert if that was it. So I just like this. Nice. Get that at fiverr.com. Sometimes they make the fans move or the winds come through. It's pretty cool. Not a green screen. That's insane. Oh, I didn't know that. RSL Societas is the leading DEX on SWI. Interesting. I think Track does the same thing by tracking food supply. See? Overlap. Jessica does like SWI. I think she's a big believer in it. Rob, what's your favorite Mexican spot in El Paso? It's all Mexican spots. Mine would be La Malinche. That's my favorite. Or Classico. I was just there a couple days ago. Great salsa. Nice and spicy. For some reason, Puerto Rico doesn't sell those things. All right. And CoffeeZilla, I'll leave it like this. First Coast. CoffeeZilla does have the best green screen around. Very cool, very nice. And be interesting to see what happens with him and Jake Paul or Logan Paul, one of those two brothers that sued him. And yeah, that's it for today. I think we're getting off course wildly. Everybody, if you like today's video, give it a like on your way out. That'd be great. You can subscribe, but it's not like YouTube's going to notify you. So that's it for this one. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you. And I'll see you guys on the next one, which will be tomorrow. I forgot to tell you, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 a.m. Pacific. It'll be me, Guy, and Ben. Guy from Coin Bureau, Ben in the Cryptoverse, talking about the NFA Live, which will be on this show tomorrow. So everybody, I'll see you mañana bright and early. Have a great rest of the day.